I'd like to call to order today's meeting of PCOE PUSD board. And I'd like to invite Trustee Klein to lead us in the flag ceremony.
Ready? Pledge allegiance States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, please.
Here. Here. Read. Present. Williams.
Here. Thank you very much. I'd like to seek the approval of the tonight's agenda, PCOE PUSD meeting agenda.
I'll second.
First in the
Aye.
opposed. Passes. Principal's recognition. Principal calls for up.
Welcome to CRC this evening. I am very excited this evening to Elizabeth. She is a sixth grader at our school. And Ellie absolutely exemplifies kindness and work, resilience, and extra special. She's postponing her trip in order to see this. And we're just so proud of her because I have a lot of hardships. She is person that we know at CRC. And she hasn't done this in a vacuum. Tonight with her is her mom Dawn and her dad Brad and her brothers Brady and Parker. And she also has some aunts and cousins and uncles here supporting her. And the love that they share for her shines on us every day. We're so lucky to have teachers. Nominate Ellie Nisbet for the Principal Recognition Award. Ellie is not only kind, caring, passionate. She is a hard worker and has truly mastered what it means to take ownership of her learning. Ellie's a what she already does. One of my favorite things about Ellie is she knows how to advise her concerns and people's not afraid to stand up for what needs to be done, even if it means hardship for herself. We're so proud of how much Ellie has grown this year. Can't wait to see what wonderful things the world.
I Sandra for it. Sandra, come on over. Sandra's very fast, go high, when we have to staff to consider the recipient of this award. She was unanimously chosen by all of them. Hands down, very easy choice to make. But one of the teachers wanted to be here today to do some very nice things about her. So Ms. Brandy Murray is here. So half the staff, why we chose Ms. Sandra.
She grows is such a wonderful community. It's a really nice to have Sandra was nominated for this award because she is dedicated and striving for excellence.
She is organized and presents with exceptional work. The more is that she's an ideal human too. Sandra is always polite, respectful, willing to help others. You have demonstrated absolute strength and resilience. I'm excited to see everything. Thank you.
I could ask,
Very. Ms. Christy Hodge, Christy has just made so much of our enrichment position. Art and music and STEM and also a lot of SEL is happening in our school because of the work she's doing. A little bit of what she has.
Hello, thank you for having me. So our enrichment program, this is my third year teaching enrichment. I see them once a week. We have done, I teach art with them and technology. So we brought in Minecraft to our program. And through Minecraft, they've been able to learn some computer science skills. Just recently, we finished for Earth Day. They did a Minecraft lesson. K through 3 did or first through third lesson where they learned about pollution. And we went in and they were fishing, and they had to fish for. They can catch fish, they can catch garbage, they can catch treasures, and they had to figure out the probability and make tallies to figure out what would come out of the water when they were fishing. And we talked about the ocean pollution and cleaning that up. So they've been really skilled. Our first graders are going to be working on bee pollination, building bee farms through Minecraft. So it's been a really neat thing to have at our school for computer science. Bring it into the school and help get all the teachers on board. They've all been trained on how to use it, and we're starting to implement that. So that's been a big thing. We also just started teaching bells, music desk bells. We started that with TK to third, and it's really unique because there are these little bells, and they learn the music notes as well as being able to play music with them. And the solfege of do, re, mi, they can all reiterate it and play music. So we brought in the science person. Talk about how the art, you know, some may be good at sketching, some might be good at painting, others are over the course of the 3 years we where it's a true PL for the teacher, and we work together collaborating and planning our lessons, and we chunk our time. So the teachers have once a week. And just the other day I was walking, I went into the room and they were sitting there all working hard and planning. So they So with that, I just want to say, you know, enrichment is going away, and not going away, but my position is not funded. That on some facet in the future. It's people say CRC kids are at enrichment time. My TK 4-year-old says. Oh, thank you for having me as your enrichment teacher. On in some facet, which is not at the level that we.
Hi everyone, I'm Gavin Winnis, here today to talk about activities in the school. I have separated these activities into 3 categories, which are sports, events, and academics. First, I want to talk about sports. Baseball and softball are currently taking place, with both having 2 more weeks before their season is over. Golf is currently second in their league and plans to finish on May 3rd, but could go on past this date if they do well enough in their league. The Powerpuff game is happening this Friday on June 7th, and is being put on by the Booster Club. Next, I would like to move on to events. We are planning to have prom on Saturday, May 11th at the Corner Barn in Grego. They are currently selling tickets at my school. There's also a dance called the Spring Fling on Thursday, June 6th, which is planning to be held at the outdoor basketball court at PHS. Junior high is also planning to put on their own dance with a Hawaiian theme on May 10th. This year's seniors are planning to go on their senior trip to Six Flags on Saturday, June 8th. Additionally, Drama Club is planning to put on a performance called How to Get Away with a Murder Mystery, which is meant to be a humorous, clue-like play. They're expecting to begin showing mid to late May. Finally, I'd like to move on to academics. AP tests are coming up in May, and so are the CAPS tests, which all 7th, 8th, and 11th graders will be taking. Additionally, our Sister Grad Scholarship Program will be holding interviews next week for all our seniors. And finally, last week, our sophomores went to Oregon for a Shakespeare festival and watched Macbeth thanks to a literacy grant they received. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Thank you all for your time.
County Teachers Association President Carol Hutchins will give us a few minutes.
So exciting time here. I'd like to have the teachers who are going to be receiving an award when we come up. So this is really CTA has an award called WHO, WHOO, 2 O's, called, it's kind of a cute acronym, We Honor Our Own, kind of like the Academy Awards do, right? But what this gives us an opportunity is to honor the teachers who we're close to. I have to tell you, Plumas County does this right, because a lot of the other unions, they honor their union membership, okay? When I heard that that was an option, I said, no, I don't want to honor my union membership, even though we work hard and my secretary works hard and Wendy works incredibly hard. I want to honor teachers. Is that an option? And they said, absolutely. So we sent out for teachers to nominate teachers that they felt were outstanding. And there were like 13, 14, 15 nominations. And some of them are here today. So I don't want to be the first to do this one, but just step up. Yes, go for it.
Hello, my name is Amanda Iverson.
I'm the mild bond special education teacher here at CRC. And when I got the email, I thought of teachers who, and all the teachers here are incredible, but I thought of two teachers that really stood out in my mind as people who have, or teachers who have incredible relationships with their other coworkers and with their students. So the first one, and Melissa's a second grade teacher here, and you are incredible. Sorry, you're incredible at building relationships with your students. You can see her every morning. Every morning, her and I pass each other in the hall. Every single kid that passes her, she stops and individually recognizes and talks to and takes the time, even if you can tell she's on her way, she's running late, but she takes the time and she has a conversation with them and she asks them questions and she knows about them and they're so happy to see her. And she's a safe adult for not only her past and present students, but kids. Today I watched her problem solve with two students and she doesn't even know, but they came straight to her and asked her for help. And so she's always doing that. And she takes the time to build those relationships. And it's truly inspiring. So. Okay, so Mrs. Frank is our mod severe special education teacher here at CRC. And I'm super blessed because I work closely with her every day. She's my mentor, my friend, and she's my daily reminder of why I went to special education. So Mrs. Frank works, she does so with an immense amount of joy, compassion, and patience. And you truly cannot be in a bad mood and be in the same room as her. You just can't. And she spreads that love to all of her paraprofessionals and her students. Her parents know her intimately and well, and she knows them. Everyone feels comfortable to come to her for help. And I've worked, a long time in special education. I used to be a paraprofessional. And it's really rare to find a special ed teacher who is so close with her paraprofessionals and treats them so well and loves them so deeply. And they love coming to work because they feel supported by her. So I just wanted to recognize her for being a true inspiration to me and remind me of why I went into special education. So.
Thank you very much. Okay. Go ahead, Tammy.
I am Tanya Hutchins. I teach Spanish at Portola High School, and I have the honor of this award for nominating Grant Craig, who is our science teacher. And I hope that you read what we wrote on the certificates, because I was not going to repeat what's there. It's very from my heart to you. I taught science for many years. I know it's not an easy subject. I know that it is. So I'm going to call you the star. STAR. You're super talented and always ready. And Alicia is the other half of our history department at Portola High School. And we talked about teaching Alicia all the way. She listens to that she teaches through an equity lens. Mostly I want to talk about her. So she is a founding member of our PCTA equity team. She is an alternate council. So she can vote to make this. All right, a representative assembly for NEA. She is really stepping up to make sure they're looking at education through an equity lens. You're going, and I'm really super lucky to have her.
Thank you. Is that teacher right here today?
This teacher is not.
And then I am giving one more certificate for Tanya Hutchins, who is my wife. But the reason why I'm approaching this, go ahead and come up, is because she was nominated by Amanda Osborne. Amanda was not able to make it, so I'm presenting to Tanya on Amanda's behalf. And I could say all kinds of wonderful things about her, but protocol says I should probably just read what Amanda said. It says, Tanya is a dedicated, caring, and fun teacher. It isn't always easy to teach an academic elective. Because it is an elective, students often become indignant at the fact that they have to work for their grades. But Tanya works hard to incorporate creative assignments and carefully plans for activities that teach a variety of learning styles. In my English classroom, right down the hall, we're often rocking out to her Spanish songs, and I appreciate hearing her careful instruction of grammar. Yet, I think what impresses me more is that she spends time sharing personal stories to teach cultural awareness. She works hard to reach all of her students. So congratulations. Sit down. So one last comment. We have a lot of others who weren't able to make it. I'm not going to present them, but in your agenda, the actual words are available for you to see. And then what this is this is a certificate. Wendy, raise your hand, Wendy. Wendy, raise your hand. So Wendy helped me put this in a certificate in this kind of a presentation. And you can see what it looks like. I've actually put a link to one of these, got permission from the teacher to do that. And I think that you'll see it's a wonderful thing to be able to give teachers an opportunity to acknowledge each other. So thank you very much.
So I want to add one more thing before you clap for Daryl. So what we are going to do now as a district, because the best thing to do is have teachers choose their own, is we're going to now take, I believe there's 15 people that came through here. We're going to screen those 15 people against California Teacher of the Year criteria. And then the people that meet those criteria that they set forth will then set up interviews with them and their principal, and they will all be nominated for California Teacher of the Year honor, where we will, over the next about 6 weeks, narrow that down to one, which we will then submit on for the first time to the state level for a representative from Loomis County for California Teacher of the Year. So thank you, Daryl, for doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us, because this is always the hardest part, is how do you get down to the initial pool. And so they've done that through nominations of their own folks. So,
and I'm very excited Bill is taking that up. Teachers didn't realize that was going to happen, and I'm very thankful for you doing that. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Time and place for public input. If there's anyone. Okay, move on. Okay. Thank you very much. And facilities, measure B.
all right, we have two projects we're bringing forward from the meeting we had 2 months ago when we looked at the remaining Measure B funds. First one on here is for All Phase Landscapes to actually put in automated irrigation into the backfield at Chester Elementary School, so that we no longer have to drag a hose and sprinkler around to try to keep that green. So that's included in the amount that we put in at Chester L. Speaking of Chester, everything to finish the softball field has been approved, and might be starting work on Monday, just waiting for it to dry out enough to get his equipment out there, and that will go quickly. So we have that, and then we have town flooring to do 5 classroom hallway, Quincy Junior Senior High School, and that amounts $43,000, and there was about $75,000 allocated. So we've got town coming out, and they're looking at the other upstairs hallway in the admin building to do those classrooms as well. See if we can get them all done while they're mobilized, and they're generally a cost savings for us. So we have those two Measure B projects, and then the bid opening projects that we'll be doing this summer is next week. And so you'll have two roof projects coming to you at the board meeting in May for summer work. So looking for approval on Measure B.
I'll second.
If there's a first and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
All right, our facilities contracts, we have a new sign for the Portola High School gym. It's coming out of Secure Rural Schools funds. We have Hank and Specialty Elevators. We had some emergency work on the elevator. The funny part about that was he came to do the work. I had to sign an emergency order because he was able to get there early on a different day because he had a cancellation. And he got there and the elevator repairman got trapped inside the elevator. But I believe he's out now because we did that last week. We have the big one on here is Lights Creek Construction was the only bid, but the winning bid for the reconstruction of the concession stand down in Greenville. And I sent pictures to the board, but played the first softball game at Greenville High School since the Dixie Fire last week, and it was really cool. I was out there a couple days prior watching the littles have little league practice, and community's happy, and that project's turned out beautifully. So very pleased with that. So we have that to award to finalize Lights Creek. Our plan with that is we will. It's not a huge project, even though it's a big number, and so they're going to wait and start construction probably around the middle of July after the community is done using the Little League field, and then they should be able to get it all done in 3 months before the rain falls. So that's the plan there. And then we have to replace a tank and some propane line, feral gas. That's for out of the bus garage. And then land use wisely, it's just we had to have 2 trees taken down as an emergency or a safety concern. So those are the facilities contracts. Looking for approval on that.
I have a question. Which
Sure.
Placing.
I would have to ask Robin. I authorize it, they're gone. It was under threshold, and we took them down last week, so I couldn't even show you where they were unless I could find 2 stumps. But they are not the big ones in the front. That I do.
Okay.
That frame the sign.
Okay. Okay. You looking for approval?
Yes, sir.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carries, and you have is there a Williams quarterly report?
We have nothing to report. There were no Williams complaints filed for this quarter.
Okay, thank you. Also, the Cedar Cascade Family Opportunities Use Agreements.
Okay, so that is Head Start. We have Head Start programs on all of our elementary school campuses. And I had a meeting because I've only ever met Brenda on Zoom. So she came out and met, and we're talking. The last thing she says, oh, by the way, all of our leases for your facilities expired in September. Okay, but we had a transition in there, and so those got missed. So we went through, we reworked all the leases, make sure they're up to date, they're current, and bringing those forward for approval. I believe they're 3-year contracts. One has an early out because they really do. They lease 3 portables from us, and we are leasing 1 back from them off of the lease. And if we can get our 2 portables out of engineering and put up here, they want early out so they can lease that 3rd one back because their program out here is expanding. So that's the only change really from what they have been in the past. So looking for approval on those. Yes. I believe you can approve the leases as a group.
First and second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries and
Yeah, so I wanted to come before you tonight and ask for approval on the 21-22 audit reports for Plymouth County Office of Education. It's information only. And then an action item to approve the 21-22 Plymouth Unified School District's final audit. So yes, going through our audit findings, I think that you would find one finding in there that we still have not resolved between CDE and then also the Educational Review Audit Panel. Learned some additional information this weekend, and we will continue now into a formal review with the audits panel. So we will draft up a letter, we'll sit before the panel, and they'll make their final decision. Ultimately, we are very hopeful that the audit finding will be resolved 100% cleared. If not, then we take the next steps in working with the state to see what the financial impact would be for the district and then coming up with a mutual resolution between the two parties.
Do we feel confident that with the next year, we have everything?
Yes.
So
Yes, I believe we were 100% compliant as our board notes showed. And I believe with the information today that I was able to send to the state, she was hopeful. And just as a formality, we would like to take it to the review panel. Any questions?
Ms. On, you discussed this in your staff, so that you discuss this amongst your staff, and you know, going forward.
You know, yeah, and the big finding was actually between our curriculum and instruction and the business office. So working together now with those departments, outlining the requirements of those grants and the timelines in which, you know, this was all at a very interesting time. We had many internal things going on, but we also had the Dixie Fire. We were coming out of, you know, getting back into the classrooms, and as a result of all of those things going on, I'm actually pretty pleased at what we have now to supply CDE with the information that we were compliant.
it should be.
Yes.
PUSD.
I'm always here to answer questions.
So Mallory, are you confident? I know your question. Are you confident that even if we do end up with some sort of a finding, we'll be able to negotiate?
Sure. Yeah, actually,
so it won't be a giant impact to our fiscal.
Right. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to speak to the head of the reviews panel this last week in class, and he spoke to me of how these things typically work. And again, you go in before the panel, if you make it that far, and we talk about what the impact would be to the district and what is a reasonable amount, right? And so I am confident that the district will not have as much of a financial impact as what we had originally thought when the finding first came out.
Right now,
A possible impact that would be spread out multiple years.
5 to 7 years, generally.
the approving of this doesn't.
No. No, we can't. Right. Thank you.
First and second. All of those in favor?
I
I'm
Thank you very
excusing
much.
her daughter has a softball game, so I'm gonna
Thank
excuse her to hit the road.
Thank you.
She's my right home.
All right, thank you for coming. Yeah, so this is the first in what will be 2 or 3 board meetings in a row of surplus items coming out of Greenville High School campus, as well as we'll have some stuff coming from maintenance as well. What you'll find on this list are a few pieces of weight room equipment that were old, out of date, and dangerous that needed to be removed anyway. And then a large number of textbooks that nobody else in the district has use for because they're out of date. And we either don't use those textbooks anymore or we're on to other editions. So these will be all disposed of. The good note is out of a very large inventory list, out of that book room, vast majority of the novels will be coming out to Football High School to supplement their stock so that they don't have to borrow from Quincy High School anymore. Chester had the opportunity to look, they have enough to handle their classes. So making good use of the materials out of there, and this is just the first step in getting the campus ready to transition over to the charter school. For approval on the surplus item, so we can get a large pile of textbooks that we're going to get rid of out of the hall. Okay, go ahead, Dave. No, the weight equipment is from it's broken cardio equipment from Greenville. That is specifically from Greenville High School.
That stuff was donated several years ago and we accepted it at the time.
That's okay. We're going to dispose of it now, so someone doesn't get hurt. Any other questions?
I'll move to approve. Thank you.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
There is. Resolution about class funds.
So you guys have seen something similar to this the last couple of years. It's originated out of COVID. And this will be the last time you see this resolution. We're not supposed to be doing this. Only way we can do it is through a board action. And this, for the people that are here, is money raised through ASB at an elementary school, which is what is called an unorganized ASB, cannot be transferred to the middle school, high school program because they're an organized ASB. The money that is raised is supposed to be spent by the time they end in 6th grade. And so we have talked to all of our principals to make sure they're clear with their fundraising groups. Some have chosen to raise through boosters and things like that. That's fine. But when it's through ASB, we have some certain things we have to do. And working with a couple of parents on this, they didn't feel it was really clear to them. And they were raising for both P2P as well as senior trip. And these kiddos are already in 7th grade. And there's an outstanding balance. We want to clean this up. But this is the last time you'll see this resolution. It's going to be a glorious 6th grade party at the elementary schools this year as they transition on. If they have money, but I'm looking for approval of this resolution so that we can legally write a check from this. Actually has to do with one school from Alder campus over to Quincy Junior Senior High School.
Can you explain the difference between an organized and an unorganized ASB?
So basically, an unorganized ASB is an elementary school student council, and they give suggestions, and you're trying to teach them the right process. But in the end, the principal makes the decision, they cut the checks, and that's how it goes. An organized ASB is what we have at the junior highs and high schools, where everything comes formalized, that their meetings are just as official as these. They're just ran by teenagers. Everything comes to a vote. They have to have budgets. They have to be properly approved, and there's a whole process to it. And it truly is student government, student-led government. So it's unorganized versus organized.
Separate from parent organization.
100%. 100%. This has nothing to do with parent organization. This is only funds held in an ASB.
So the P2P money would then put into the ASB account?
The money that they raised, they did it all through the school through ASB. So they're wanting to carry that over to the high school to be able to then apply towards their senior trip. And it's really hard to say no, that now that they're not even 6th grade now. And we, this wasn't brought to our attention until this fall. And
And when the pastor comes on.
they can do that however they want to. They are separate entities. But when it's in our coffers, we have to play by the rules. 100%. Not saying that they don't, but they have way more flexibility as boosters, parent organizations, etc. So looking for approval of this resolution. This is the shortest resolution I've ever written.
To approve resolution number 1648 as written.
This is a roll call.
Harrison.
I don't.
Aye.
Keller.
I.
Yep. Thank you. I have a very brief report tonight. One is just information. The first part is information. The second is a shout out, and she left prior to her shout out, but that is okay. Just letting you know, so we started the LCAP meetings last week. Coming out of spring break, the Quincy one kind of dud, so we rescheduled to the end of the month. Had a nice meeting in Chester. It wasn't a huge turnout, but it was a thoughtful turnout. It was a good representation. Got some good themes coming out of that, some ideas. And, I think the important thing to understand is, like I've told them, almost 86% of our dollars are spoken for before we ever write one word of the LCAP. And that's what our people, maintenance, and transportation costs. And those are the essentials. And so then we're looking about how do we go about spreading out that other 15%, which is somewhere around $5.5 million, which is not very much when you're trying to spread that out across 4 communities and all these school sites. So we talk about what it is, what the LCAP is, what our budget is, and then we just sit down and we talk about what's important to the communities. And our goal is to try to find themes that go from one community to the other, to the other, to the other. And if we can get something out of that and help us in terms of maybe prioritizing some of the funds, then that's what we want to do, and that's what we're doing it. Why we're doing it, be in Greenville tomorrow. Dave's going to drive out to Greenville with me. We'll be here in Portola. We'll be at the high school, and everybody is welcome to attend. And then we'll circle back to Quincy on 4:30. So I spent Monday and Tuesday in Santa Barbara at the California County Superintendent's meeting. We meet 3 times a year. And I went to a breakfast meeting on special education advocacy. And we've had the pleasure this year of having a group from the LA County Office of Education. They included us in this study that they're doing by accident. They just called and showed up, and they weren't supposed to. They were given 16 school districts by the state, and they actually excluded the single districts because we're just kind of weird. We operate differently, but they came, and they had such an amazing experience in working with Jessica that they came back literally last week. And so I went to this breakout session, and I was like, oh, I recognize these ladies that are presenting, and they were literally in our district office on Thursday, and they were on Zoom. And so they're sitting there talking about all the work they're doing, and they talked about this wonderful community they went, and it's really funny trying to listen to Flatlanders describe Plumas County. It was hilarious. But the lady that was sitting 3 down from me from a very large county in the state didn't know who I was. And she talked about it, and she challenged those ladies from LA County Office of Ed. She said, why are you wasting your time in a county like Plumas? Why don't you do somewhere where you can do some good? They don't have very many kids up there. You should be investing more, and shame on the CDE.
Wow.
And these ladies said, you know what? Everybody in this room could learn from Plumas. Because what the Plumas County Office of Education, the Plumas Unified School District does is they make relationships with their families and their kids. And so even when they can't always offer the right program, they offer the best program they possibly can. And they fill in the gaps with compassion and communication, working with the children and their families to the best of their ability. And shame on you for saying that. And then she stopped and she said, and I think you need to stand up and apologize to the man that's sitting 3 chairs down from you, because that's his county and they're doing a damn good job. And so.
Can you put that in writing? And I'd like to send it to my teachers.
Yeah, I will share that out.
Please do.
And
Yes.
so, you know, Jessica carried on the legacy work that Kevin started during COVID, and God bless Kevin for the work he's done. And Jessica's been cleaning a lot of things up. But at the core of what she does is she cares about kids. And yes, she's making sure everyone's compliant, and that's hard. But we do the very best we can with our students in special education. And I shared this with her like immediately after the meeting. I was like, oh my gosh, you don't believe what happened. So just proud of the work that my team, compared to any other county office of education, if you take their average age, is probably 15 to 18 years younger on average than any other county office in the state. So we are very young and they're growing. And so I try to take the opportunity to prop them up anytime I can, because this was good work, just like the work that Mallory is doing and what we're doing in HR. So we've got a great team. So that's my report for tonight. Okay, you got a bunch. Anyone have any questions? These are, again, as always, CSBA provides these. They make us, as I like to say, defensible and somewhat bulletproof, especially because we use CSBA legal in terms of when we need policy defense. So we go with their suggestions, and some of these come up because we look at it. You know, we had an issue at a school site about a month ago about a non-custodial parent. And it's like, oh, we need to get an update on this one. So we look and CSBA has that, but we're really close to being caught up. But it's just the time of the year. You know, every time we think we're caught up, then CSBA will release 40 more updated policies. And for those of you that have never seen the policy manual, when you print it out, it's about this thick. So we will never be done. It is, it's like pushing the rock up, the boulder up the mountain. It always happens. You know, it's always pressure. So looking for approval on these policies, so they will be updated. There is nothing new in here.
First and second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And student dressing, grooming guideline revisions.
Oh my. So we've been working on this for about a year. With you know, administration and input. And then, you know, we took the big leap of faith, and sometimes the best thing you can do with this is get the students involved. So we asked for representatives from each high school to show up. And here's what is interesting. They took the whole dress code. Didn't tell them what it was limited to. What do you guys want to see? Guys and girls. You know, and what they gave us, we had to, you know, we had to clean it up, make it a little gender neutral, make sure we couldn't get sued. But the idea is maybe 2 paragraphs. Kids are harder on themselves than maybe they need to be. And they're very responsible. And this was, I think I was most proud of the fact that as schools, you sent us a very diverse population. They were very open-minded. They were very well-spoken, very, very well-mannered. And what they presented, about 80% of it made it in here. Some of it is just like, yeah, it's non-starter. Sorry about that. But the big one is hats. And you all know, we heard Mr. McMorrow talk to us in January. One of the biggest things we want our staff to do is be able to make relationships And when the first thing they're doing so much of the day is, hey, take your hat off, hey, do this, hey. It's hard to make relationships, and we're putting teachers in an awkward spot there. And it's, it's a different time, different place. So that's the big one in there. Our plan is this will not go into effect tomorrow. We give the principals about 2 weeks to work with their staff. Because with the hat rule, it really addresses the common areas. When they're on campus, they're in the cafeteria, they're out in the hallways, things like that. But we leave them the autonomy to have the rule in their classroom if that's what they so wish to have. And, I did this at my high school, and the way I explained to my students was being on school and going from classroom to classroom is like being in Europe. There's a general set of rules. You go from country to country, you are responsible to know the differences. So I need them to know what the difference is when they go into Miss Murray's class versus what the expectation is in Miss Hutchins' class. And that we can do that, and we're clear, and that we want to teach these children how to be responsible adults in the workplace, because yes, not everyone's going to work in an office setting. And the kids that we worked with over, I believe it was 3 meetings over the course of a year, were super receptive to this. And I really, when they sent it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this going to be? And it was super conservative, and they didn't push too hard. So what we did is we provided you with the document with the strike throughs to show exactly what's changed. And then there's one change that we made. We're not suspending kids for dress code violations. Sometimes what they wear to school is what they have, and that's not fair to do. So we're going to be looking next year to do some other sort of consequence for the repeat offenders. And then there's a large document that we talked about at ILT. And it's about how the dress code is enforced in terms of looking at students' self-esteem, making sure we're not calling them out in front of people, how it's addressed, making sure that it's not addressed in a way that makes them uncomfortable, and those expectations. And I thought that work by the students was extremely thoughtful, because they were not only looking at this as policy change, but they're also looking at their fellow students as to how they would be taken care of with this, because there's going to be a learning curve. And we all know that. So I bring forth to you these changes, and I commend the work of that committee and Mr. Andresen, who took it on and headed it up. He did a good job. So, questions?
Can you go back and explain who worked on this?
So we talked with, we had some input from staff members who were really frustrated with the old one, but we had a group for the majority. David Andresen worked with, it ended up being 10 students.
All over the county?
Every community was represented.
Has this gone out to staff?
We have shared it with our principals and asked them to, share this out. But a lot of what we have heard informally, they are tired of fighting this, especially the hat rule. But the problem is we have 3 communities that want to change it, 1 that doesn't, but we're a unified school district. So we're not going to have 1 set of rules for 1 set of kids and then another set of rules for 3 other communities, because that will be very difficult.
Some clarification that maybe when it goes out to principals. So I had a conversation with teachers last week. Had a copy of the dress code and asked me for copies, and I said, I'll get back to you. So, but basically, they do the shorts thing like this, and the shorts can't be any shorter than your index finger there. And so, in reading through this, it's not clear to me.
Yeah, and the reason why is because so I can use, if I was to stand next to Kate Henson. Kate is going to be a senior at Portola High School next year. And she's a basketball player and she's a volleyball player and her arms go down to her knees. She has about a 7-foot wingspan, literally no lie. And then I'm here, okay? No one wants to see that. Right? So it's actually unjust based on a student's build and their genetics. And so, you know, what the kids gave us was a little more graphic and we didn't want to do that. And this is what we wordsmithed it out to make sure that everything's covered. And that's what we want to see.
It just seems like it's not super clear.
Well, it's not clear, but it's actually more consistent. That's what we're going for, is what can we make that is consistent, that is not going to be an undue burden on one gender or another. And we really work to make this gender neutral. It's a touchy subject. I understand this. There are a lot of school districts, because it's dress codes have gotten them in so much trouble, they just went away from them. They don't enforce it. So we don't want to be there. Because that's all, you know, principal then will be working on, the vice principal. Trying to keep
The other part of it is that every teacher should be able to find this, and find it.
Okay.
And so, and I know Quincy High School has it on there. But not every school is doing this.
So it was hard for me to find. This is buried inside a 49-page document located under student and parent resources, I believe, on the webpage, called Student Behavior Expectations. So part of what we'll do is, once this is approved, we'll get rid of all the strike-throughs, get the language cleaned up. We're going to print posters and send it out to all the school sites as a district expectation, so everyone can have it. And then when we do, you know, if we do planners, things like that, we'll have them call it out as something separate. That entire document is something we're going to work on this summer, the behavior expectations, but this is something that needs to be pulled out. I agree. It is buried. Like I said, it's right in the middle of a 49-page document. And it's only 2 pages in there, so if you miss it, it goes real quick.
Based on the strikeout of this, so flip-flops are allowed on the high school campus?
The backstrap is elementary school, because that is required by our insurance company for elementary schools as a safety deal. Not a bad thing, but we have some families that go to Old Navy and they get 5 pairs of flip-flops for $25, and they're different colors, and that's what the kids have.
But we also have lots of community groups that are donating to closets and things like that on campuses to provide other options to families as well.
That's in the high schools, not for the elementaries. It is not, as I said, it's not an easy decision, and you know, this is a lot of work that has went into this. You know, good work by the students as well to give us sensible options. Never once was, well, we should be able to wear whatever we want to wear. They understood the reason for guidance. So.
I know, I think that
We will definitely need to.
address things that happens for not. See it, wear it for a while, literally.
Yeah. It's all fluid. I guarantee I've got some principals that if it's not going well, they're gonna let me know. I'm fine with that.
So it's 2 routes to principals for.
Before it's implemented, not for comment. Except for vote tonight.
I really appreciate that kids' input on this. I think, you know, I think that was a great process. And But I'm wondering if there's something. Different thing.
I think it would be a cleaner implementation too, if it started at the beginning of the year. Then right before graduation and all the activities that are going on. I've never been a full-time teacher, but I've been a substitute teacher for several years here. And I think having things, having the difference between classrooms is going to be really confusing. It's going to be almost impossible for a sub. That's just my 2 cents, and that's what I remember.
I hear you. When we made this change, and I had 500 something kids on my campus, it took everyone about a week to figure it out. Subs never had a problem. You know, teachers clearly put their expectations up on their walls, and kids learn to conform. But this one is this is an ongoing, it's a fight, and it's not healthy. We've got much bigger issues to be dealing with in terms of SEL and student behaviors about whether or not they're wearing a ball cap. It's a lot deeper than that. But if you want to table it, it's the pleasure of the board. We've done the work.
I make a motion, so because I got to be part of the other side of this process. So my son was one who was out in a part of this, and what came home from his point of view of them feeling like they got to be part of the process, as well as the give and take part of it, with the understanding that it's not going to be perfect on either side. So I just feel that some of the changes are very minor. They're smaller changes. Now on the implementation side, you're right. Don't know how that's going to work. And I know some of the things that are happening in Chester are some are handling it and some are not. And but that education is more what I'm a part of. So this part of this process, to where understanding it's fluid, to give this a chance, is where I'm at, which is why I'm motioning to approve it, to at least see how this can happen. Because if it needs to be pulled back, then we do like we're doing again and we revisit it. So, and
you can amend that motion to implement it for next school year, and then we can really do an implementation, an educational process on expectations, and start it next August. Happy to do that. I don't believe we have anything in here that says it would go in effect immediately. That was the plan, but we're happy to push off the implementation to next school year, so we can really work on educating the kids and the parents, etc.
Seeing that we have a couple of principals in the room, I would love to understand if you implemented immediately or at the beginning of the school year.
For me, I think that a clean start at the beginning of the school year makes sense. But I'm probably the wrong one to ask about all this stuff. I tend to be much more stream in my thoughts on that and what I'd like to see, but I understand that it's bigger than Brookville High School, so uniforms if we could. There's a whole other.
There's actually very little change to what the expectations are for elementary school, or the K through 6, PK through 6.
I was going to add that it really doesn't impact us very much. I mean, we still have to wear straps in the back of our shoes, and I would say since COVID, I'm seeing the hat thing slide, and I don't think it's going to make much difference to us. I do think it's important to be consistent. So the whole idea of having rules in one classroom that are different than another classroom, I think it's just bad
bad practice for a school. So I think, I would want all the classrooms to be consistent in our school rather than leaving it up to an individual teacher.
I can see that, but I've also walked in the classroom for a California person who actually won the California Teacher of the Year, one of the 5 winners. And the kids are all wearing ball caps and the girls all have their hats on, and it doesn't affect the learning. It's all, what affects the learning is the delivery and the relationship of the people standing and working with the kids. And what part of our hope is with this is this removes a barrier between some of the teachers and their students, especially some of the most at-risk kids. Because I remember when my parents were going through a divorce and I woke up in the morning because they had fought all night and I didn't want to take a shower. I just wanted to roll out, go to school, put a hat on. I pulled it down over my eyes and I went to class. Didn't make me a bad student. It just meant I was hiding from life a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, this is at the leisure of the board, and pleasure. I mean, and we can start it in the fall. Happy to do that. We've got to get some signs, some posters made, put that out, and be able to communicate with the parents. But we won't know if it's good or bad until we get some, we see it, see how the kids are going to react.
We have a motion, but the question.
You have a motion on the floor.
If there's a second, then ask the question.
I got the motion.
Oh, should we pass it or not?
My motion is to pass it.
The question is there a second, or does it die without a second?
You were first.
I can't support it the way it's written, and I think it's really hard to enforce if it's different per classroom. And the other part is I don't have a problem with a specific campus having one set of rules. I know that we are a unified school district, and but I do believe that some good things happen when we give each campus some autonomy, and when the teachers get to pull together and discuss things and decide what they want on their own campus. And I think this is one of those areas where I agree with that. I would love to dig in. This is way off in the weeds, but I have family members in Southern California where I grew up whose schools receive huge grants to provide free uniforms for every single kid in public school. I would love to understand how that happens, where that money comes from and why that's not available to us. My nephews are some of the best dressed kids in Southern California, and they don't pay for any of their clothing, except for their shoes. So I just haven't done that. I don't know the answer to that, but I know that happens. Anyways, that's where I am right now. I'm not, if it is called for a vote, I hope,
Can I make a comment? I like what you just shared. As president, I've heard many times teachers complain to me about one school being forced to do what another school is doing just because they're doing it, and what one school doesn't fit into the culture of this school. And so they often talk to me that they wish that there was more the option of autonomy for decision making for individual schools. We are a unified school district, but sometimes what works at one school does not necessarily work at another school. So I like what you just said there.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to wait and actually get this out to the principals and have their feedback from it, and because I thought that process had already been done.
The principals all have saw this.
Okay. Okay.
So this is not new to principals.
Okay.
So the 2 weeks will just be discussed.
Yes. We had a voice come through about relationships, and it makes sense. I will tell this: if we make a set of rules for one school and not for the 3 others, you are creating a nightmare for the district. A nightmare. And that is
How are we
very
doing it
difficult.
now?
Huh?
How is it that we're doing it now?
Everyone has the same set of rules. It's one dress code, district wide.
But it's just not being
It's our-
enforced on 3 high school.
Because
campuses.
it's, I'll be honest with you, it's not enforceable. And Sarah, I love you to death, but I've spent a lot of time on your campus. And it's not enforced on your campus consistently either. You guys do the best job of any of the other campuses. You guys do, but right now we have a dress code that's just not enforceable. If that's all we want to do all day long, that's fine. I would rather have my principals in classrooms working on actual, educational leadership and supporting teachers. Our vice principals can be doing so much more than enforcing dress code. But happy to table.
Nothing I would second.
Second. Any more questions? Favor
Aye.
and opposed? So it's 4-1.
Clarification. August start? Do we,
Yeah, it's new school.
okay,
We get that part.
okay, and then that was not ever listed on here as to when, so we will do August. And then I will bring a report back to the board in November or December. Back. Off of, we'll do a student survey and a teacher survey, and then a principal survey. Fair? Okay.
Thank you very much. This month and county resolution. And then there's the school district. Summit and read the thing on the resolution. And this is in recognition of April as Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism is a neurological condition affecting millions of individuals. Whereas those on the autism spectrum demonstrate a wide range of strengths and challenges. And whereas early intervention, education, and support can make a significant difference in the lives of those with families. And whereas Autism Awareness Month, sorry about that, is recognized each year to increase understanding and acceptance of autism. Whereas we as the school board are committed to creating a more inclusive now, therefore, be it resolved that the school board of Plymouth County office recognizes April as Autism Awareness Month and encourages all members of our school community to learn more about autism, support individuals with autism, promote inclusion and understanding for those on the autism spectrum, accepting and inclusive school environment for all students. And again, that's a resolution, so we'll need to read. Can we take both of those at the same time? Okay. First and second, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Appreciation Month for our classified and our teachers are early in May this year. And so we put them on the April agenda, so we do them ahead of time. So no, we don't want anyone to feel slighted in any way. One is the first week of May, one is the third week of May, and so we're going to be doing some recognition in the week between both for our groups because the boosters, all the PTOs really take care of them during those weeks. So that's why you're seeing these in April and not May. Oh, we can.
Day of the Teacher Proclamation. Again, this is the county and district resolution. It's 1949. They're both again. Whereas teachers play a vital role in shaping the minds of our future generations. Ideas, knowledge, and dreams. And whereas teachers keep American democracy. And whereas teachers dedicate themselves. Recognized that teachers in our era are being asked to do more. And whereas teachers provide guidance, knowledge, and support to students both inside and outside the classroom. Whereas teachers continue to influence us long after our school days were only memories. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees, County Office of Education, as well as the Florence Unified School District, I proclaim Wednesday, May 8th, as the Day of the Teacher, and urge that we observe this time to recognize and acknowledge the impact of teachers on our lives. Again, this is also a roll call vote. I need a first and a second, please. The second roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you very much. And the third, I guess actually and sixth resolution. This is where we are recognizing the classified employees through Classified Appreciation Week. That is May 19th through 24th. And again, that's a county resolution as well as the school district. And here's the wording on our resolution. Whereas the education of our youth is imperative to our school district, to California, to our nation, to our world. And whereas the dedicated and hardworking classified employees of our school district play a vital role in the success of our students, schools, tirelessly and selflessly to ensure the smooth and efficient functioning of our schools and provide a safe and nurturing environment for our students. Whereas these employees often go above and beyond their regular duties to assist students the way they can, and whereas is celebrated annually during the 3rd of May to recognize the significant contribution of class and communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board of both the Office of Education and the school district recognize the week May 19th through 25th, 2024 as Classified Employee Appreciation Week, and encourage all members of our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication of individuals. First and second, please. And this is a roll call vote.
Aye. Edwin, Johnson, aye. Heller.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for putting those on the agenda, Bill.
Of course.
We have consent agenda items now. We have minutes from the March 13th, 2024 meeting.
You approve?
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. And then we also have minutes from the March 19th, 2024 special meeting.
I'll to approve.
There's a first and a second, all of those in favor. Aye. I assume there's no opposition. And we also have the school district check registers for the month of March 2024.
Second.
First and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
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 And we also have service contracts included with this agenda.
Only one from PCOE, and that's work with CLSD literacy grant. We had a guest speaker come in.
So that just for information.
Informational.
And we have, I believe, 20 field trips coming up in the near future.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second, all of those in favor.
Aye.
Donations. Looks like there's a couple here. We have trees valued at $2,500 from PGE. And PUSD, and they're gonna be planted near the softball field at Greenville High School.
Yep.
And the other one is 6 rabbits valued at about $240. That's being donated to PUSD. Again, that's going to be project. So,
Is the trees donated, is that part of that community donation?
This is specific, because they're going to be bringing in some trees that are a little bit taller and more established. I believe they're gonna put them down right field. So the setting sun in the afternoons, it provides a little bit of a sun break. My understanding.
for a motion. First and a second, all of those in favor.
And thank you with gratitude.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. All those in favor, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Motion carries, and then, item F here, sir.
The expulsion we approved last board meeting, we had the wrong number on it. It should have basically been expulsion 03, and it was wrongly listed as 02, which would have then created a conflict if we ever had to go back. So it's just correcting the number, not the action.
First and a second, all of those in favor.
Aye.
And now it's a time and place for closed session. Stick around for after closed session. I can't tell you how long we'll be there, but could be up to an hour, or could be more. Could be 10 minutes, so.
I don't know. It's again, the leader of the board. Got my agenda. What we need to discuss.
My wife won't talk to me anymore if I stay for the closed session.
We're going to go.
Let's just confirm the president.
Just needed to take one more day.